his excuses.
Well,
so that means that someone's going to have to take over the hashtag savage role.
Savage.
Savage.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Download. It's Fridays at 2 o'clock UK time. It's 9 o'clock US on Eastern time. And we're coming to you via the Restream.io. Let's get some quick introductions. Do you want to go first, Eric? Because you're first on my...
Oh, that's lovely. Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Doyle. I'm the co-founder of Crux Consultancy and a proud partner of DLA Ignite. Thank you for the big up there, Tim. Bro, or should I call you bro? Yeah, I'll do that. And I help management teams and organizations have their social funk moment.
Beautiful. Mike, do you want to go next?
Hey, everybody, I'm Mike Garrison, aka
the
sheriff of social, and founder of Values-Based Mindset, y'all. And this is an 11-gallon hat.
That was very good. Very good.
That made everything go quiet, didn't it? Lenwood.
Yeah,
introduce yourself.
That was great. I'm Lenwood Ross. I'm the founder and CEO of Accelerate, and we're on a mission to help everybody participate in the future of work. We're also partners with DLA Ignite.
Thank you.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, Thomas.
Well, hello and thank you. I'm one of the
new MacBook.
With a new MacBook, yes, that I'm still figuring out. So if things go weird, you'll know what happened. But I'm the one of the founding partners of Social Selling HQ. I'm also a very active and proud partner of DLA Ignite. And that's it. That's all I got.
That's it. Oh, thank you. So just some introductions. Will Shilton says, "Afternoon, guys." Thank you, Will.
Hey, Will.
And Nick says, "Afternoon" as well.
Hi, Nick.
We'll miss out the Tim Bro comment, and we'll move straight on to the yes, the hat is out. Just so to explain to everybody, someone called me Bro on LinkedIn today, and I had to go back to them and ask them what it meant. It's not a term. It's not a term that's in English, so I had to go back and ask them.
You never heard tasty?
I don't know what it means. So.
That might stick, Tim.
Sorry?
Might stick.
I'd say that might stick.
Well, hey,
Tim Bro.
Worst things happen.
Hashtag Tim Bro. I love it.
Yeah. So who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about what they've seen this week? Sorry. You're all quiet.
Hey, well, I'm happy to go first.
Would you go first?
Okay. This is actually one of my favorite topics. Obviously, companies are focused on digital transformation. In sales, they're focused on, or they should be if they're not, they're focused on digital interactions and increasing digital actions. But more and more, I'm starting to see the big time consultants, the PwCs and the Gartners talk about the importance of creating a culture that supports these digital experiences.
Wow.
So actually PwC is out with an article, which I'll be sharing on Monday, talking about the importance of the employee experience and leadership experience to creating a customer-centric culture. And I think even Thomas's Harvard folks are talking more about culture.
My thunder over there, Lenwood.
I'm not. I don't mean to. I'm just a little crackle. It's a little crackle before your storm.
He's tickling you, Thomas.
I'm setting you up. So that's my thing. I'm very passionate about people and making sure that people don't get left behind as we go through this transformation. I love to talk about what people really need to be ready. And social selling is a big part of that, right? Big behavioral changes needed, and we want to do everything we can to help people be successful.
I think Len was spot on there because, if you really want to capture what Len was talking about doing, what we're talking about doing, you can't just have it be in one part of the house. Every room's got to be wide open.
Yeah, because social selling is just one department. So it's just if you transform your sales department to social, which is a great thing, it's still just one department. You haven't transformed your business.
Well, if you haven't worked for DLA, that is true.
So Lenwood, thank you. Any questions at all for Lenwood?
Yeah, for sure. So Lenwood, I would ask you with respect to, was it McKinsey that you were referring to? Which
no, it's PwC.
PwC. Okay. Would you say that their facilitation, as far as you understand it, with respect to the article, is consistent internally for themselves as it is for their customers?
Well, I would say no. I would say most of the big firms will tell you what they do, but they don't do it themselves. I mean, come on now. Let's get
bang goes that interview with PwC, Lenwood.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got friends, I think, in all those places. I got friends at all those places, and
This is beginning to sound
and
like
I
a
love golf,
record.
which is another, which
They won't
is a
see
great
this
way to
anyway,
get
don't worry about it.
but the reality is that
You're right, Mike.
These firms aren't doing the things that they I mean, I'm not inside, so I can't say everything, but certainly as far as social selling, which is really, I won't say it's the first step, but it's a really important step towards breaking down silos and getting your organization focused on your customers. What better way to focus on your customers than actually talk to them?
Careful.
If you want to talk about customer centricity, then why don't we engage with our customers where they are, which for B2B is primarily LinkedIn and Twitter. Start having conversations with them out there about what their problems are, the potential solutions are, and use our platform, which is the amazing thing about social media, right? It democratizes your ability to communicate and get close to your customers. You can use your content to help your customers make sense of all the noise out there, and there's a ton of it. So they're still doing the white papers and they're doing the articles, which are really great. I love learning from these guys, and then taking it and helping people apply it.
That really.
So, Eric, why don't you explain to people that are watching what the thunk means?
Yes.
Yeah. Seeing as it's everywhere, seeing as it's my daughter.
Well, it's all over the place. So what on earth does it mean, Eric?
So this is so I relate this back to when I met with this band of I was about to say something rude there. Band of social pioneers on this odyssey that I started. I didn't get it for a long time. I came from the oldie worldy. It's about who we know. It's about get on the phones. It's about get the emails going, guys. And as a sales leader, as a management a person in management, I would put pressure on people for more calls, and I cringe. I curl up and I cringe. I put pressure on people for how many calls you made, how many emails you sent. Well, that's not enough. We need to do more. And this was only 2018, right? So when I joined into this social odyssey, I had a bit of a wobble halfway through the kind of training and realignment, because it's not training, it's a reset of everything you've built your commercial principles on and your commercial dynamics on. And it called into question, of course, it challenged my ego. It challenged, everything I'd built businesses on before. It challenged everything that I failed to notice a major change in commercial dynamics that was going on. I failed to recognize it. And then one day, as I've said a few times, I've even written some blogs about it. I had this I just sat and I started to think about network. I started to think about content. I started to think about growth. I started to think about meaningful connections. and it all just seemed to, all this stuff was swirling around, and it all just went thunk. And I call it the thunk. It was the thunk moment of realization where I could see this for what it really was. And I see it with our clients today. I see it with our peers. I see it with anybody that we come across, and help them on this sort of journey. There is this period of disarray, this period of questioning, egos, history. What I know works, and this all seems a bit odd. And then once we're at a certain point, you can actually hear it. It's an audible thunk when they go, "Oh, so I can build a relationship with the buyer, the CEO, the influencers, the amplifiers. This isn't just about throwing crap up on LinkedIn and then purchase orders come flying in. I actually have to work for it." And deep underlying beliefs, exactly as Will said. So the thunk for me is that, and so my daughter's a graphic designer, and she did a range of. In fact, I just put one up today. I put one up on my feed today.
If you go to Eric Doyle's LinkedIn profile, go over there and have a look, and you'll see his thunk. And his daughter has done the imagery for it.
Yeah.
Don't let Eric let you think that he took it all that. His daughter did it.
He pays her really well.
And go and have a look at it. It's really good.
Eric, if I could I would just want to pick up on something that Eric said, because it's so important.
Yes.
You have to start doing it before you understand. Okay, because as you're doing it, as you're going through the process, the understanding will come. You will have, like Eric said, he was doing it, and as he's putting the pieces together, he has a thunk moment. If you wait to start before you understand, you're not going to start. because the understanding comes in part from the doing.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely spot on. It comes from the little fires you're creating and what you're molding and all of that, and suddenly the imagery starts to come out of it.
You start to see how things fit together. Yeah,
totally. So we created this little series of comic books sliders. And I have to say, each one that we've produced, and I think we've got about 20 or 30 of them, were real conversations. So they've been immortalized in comic books. And we call it the social selling thunk. And we came to the end of a season, and my daughter created this series of superheroes. Oh, sorry, my light ring.
Your ring's in the way, Eric.
It's been a problem throughout my life. So we created a series of these superheroes, social selling superheroes, the Avengers of social. And Mike's just lost it.
I got all the meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a bit of fun, but it's got a serious message, and all of our little social selling thunks are based on real conversations.
And I said before, go out and check out Eric's LinkedIn profile, and you'll see today's thunk.
Yeah.
For CMOs. For
CMOs, yeah, absolutely. So just pulling on that, and it kind of links back to everything that we're talking about. More often than not, we will come across senior marketing professionals who have been asked to attend a Zoom call with this person who's going to talk about social selling by a very excited CEO or an MD or something like that. And there's a lot of energy in the room, and people are really excited. And then there's one person who's sitting a little bit kind of like a little bit acidic at this whole process. And it's more often than not a marketing professional who perhaps has missed this, and that's okay if you've missed it, that the fact that things have changed, who's still clinging on very much to, this is my job, I do things my way, and the answer is more adverts, the answer is more marketing spend on the traditional things that we did before, and might be feeling the pressure because the company is now looking over going, where are our leads, marketing person? And they're struggling, right? So, and then this person appears in Zoom and is going to be the answer to all of this, because we're going to change the dynamic within the organization. The fact is, once we get past that little bit of initial awkwardness and we start working with a team, the marketing person becomes our best friend. Because we put them right in the center of all of this. Right in the center. And actually, they become much more, I'm not saying they're not irrelevant, they're irrelevant, but they become much more relevant in a modern sense. They become much more active in a different way, and the language has all changed, and they're core to all of this, right at the center of it all. So the little piece today is about the fact that, you know, yes, there will be a little bit of reticence, maybe a little bit of awkwardness at the start, but then they'll have their own thunk moment and go, oh my goodness, I'm right at the heart of this. And you know, people are producing content and I can steer this in particular seasonal themes or towards particular industries or whatever. I coordinate this. I supply all the sort of the content ideas, and I'm monitoring and I'm measuring, and I'm a really important part of this process. So it's a beautiful thing.
So you have an example, don't you, where, I mean, one of the things that we do as part of our social selling and influence program is provide the structure for, in effect, a content factory. So how do you work as a team across the business to do work in this new media world?
Yeah.
And you had the people basically writing notes, and within a week later, they'd completely created their own content factory. It was just amazing.
Absolutely beautiful. Using collaboration hubs and creating a new social central space within the organization where the social sellers can go in, communicate with each other about issues that they're having, and exchange and create content for each other in a really cool collaborative space. And to see that all happening from the initial kind of like, what is this all about, to actually sitting back and seeing people now in charge of their own social destiny, I think is a really cool thing to be part of.
And Eric, I mean, is it fair to say that the problem that so many executives talk about in terms of silos and the organization functioning in silos, that this begins to break that down because the people are working cross-functionally, right? It's not just sales and marketing, right? It's subject matter experts. It's everyone working and together and creating content. It really helps to break those silos. So break the silos down, changing the habits, right? Getting
big time. And you've hit the nail on the head there. That whole piece, when it starts, we start by saying that the team dynamics are going to change here, guys. You know, you might not see it right now, but right now you're all putting pressure on marketing, looking for leads, and you're all expecting sales to convert those leads and close them, right? That's going to change. You know, we've got 5 members of the C-suite on this. We've got 5 technical people on this. We've got another 5 in marketing, another 12 from sales. But the traditional layers and the traditional routes are going to change. You know, our CEO might be the first one to land a conversation that converts into a project or a purchase order, and that's okay. That's okay. We'll work out different ways of being able to manage this internally. The whole dynamic changes, and we're all in this together. That whole shared sense of purpose and how dynamics change, not following traditional models, is a little bit hard for some people to get a hold of right away, but it comes.
Yeah.
But you know, it only makes sense when you think about it, and you've said many of the points that I'm about to address, Eric. And that's the CMO is I don't want to say scared, I want to say terrified, because this is actually their job. So you are actually coming to the table and saying, we're going to help you do your job better. And it doesn't come across that way. It comes across as, we're going to do your job. That's how it comes across. So the very first thing they want to do is get you the heck out of there, right? But you are still 100% accurate. When we convert that and when we get them over that bump in the road, and it's not a bump in the road, it's a wall for them. When we get them through that wall, they become that central person. Absolutely. And they own it because they will be the driver for that program. But if we're not successful in the same breath here with respect to that process, our likelihood of being able to do the kind of complete transformation that you guys are also accurately defining in that company is not likely to succeed, right? You have to have that person on board. And you've done such a great job, Eric, showing how CEOs can really grab the reins and lead that team where they need to be. And then the CMOs start to see how that can impact, and they can be the leader in that process.
Oh, totally. And I 100% with you there, Thomas, and the rest of the team in this. And I still say, and don't mean this to sound negative, but there's a surefire way to put your target on your chest these days, and it's to be the one when the companies transform into social and the C-suite's all involved and all of that, is to stand up and go, I'm not believing in this. I'm not taking part in this. I really don't want to be part of this journey. That target's just going to grow day by day, week by week, until it's just a massive big target following you about. You're the one that's resistant to this modernization and complete transformation of the business. Wow, amazing.
Yeah,
It's even worse than a target. It's actually the laser. You can see your sight.
Multiple lasers.
Yeah, like that movie.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, Eric. I mean, I don't want to name a particular individual, but I know that one of the CMOs that you've been working with was extremely reticent about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that person go on that journey.
Oh man.
And have, I've had conversations with her on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, she wasn't active on social media, and this is not just about moving from LinkedIn, but moving onto Twitter and then having conversations with ultimately strangers. It's just a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. And having a person who was kind of in this space, thought they were in this kind of space, now saying, I've completely reevaluated all of this. This is about meaningful network. This is about exchanging with cool people all around the world and lifting off the shackles. Off the shot. Just awesome. Yes, you're right.
It's here they've got they understand network. They understand having a moving that context to being an audience, using content as the way to provide people with insight and educate them, and then having conversations with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And
just think if they scaled that across the organization. Sorry, Lenwood.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was just making a point. Just think, one person, and then we scale it across 1,000 people.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. But the point that I was actually going to make is that I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about, what sort of phase are we in this? And I remembered a time when, the most forward-thinking companies had these things called websites. And then there are all these people who were like resisting, this website. Use the phone book, and
Blackberries.
What do I need a website for? And and there were businesses that were built just on making websites because people knew, the forward-thinking people knew that eventually all businesses would need to have a website. Okay. So why am I bringing that up? Because we are still in the early days of social, and the companies, smaller companies that are willing to start this now and get going, they're going to be able to take a lot of market share from larger organizations that are going to be slower to adopt on this, who don't think they're going to need a website. They don't think they're going to need to be social, but believe me, they will be. They will need to, or they're going to have their lunch eaten.
It's a great point, Lenwood. I've got a mate who did a consultancy in an organization to put forward a proposal. The management team paid them to do some consultancy to see whether they should adopt email. And it was turned down because it went to the board, and the board said email will never catch on. It will stay a very niche technology because lawyers would always insist on having letters, and you'll always have to sign a letter and stuff like that. So email will never catch on.
Was this message from the board read out by a town crier? On this day in 2022.
So that's really cool. This tees me up really well, if you don't mind. Right. So
go ahead.
So
you do it with your hat on, or
no.
If you said bring a hat, I would have bought one.
I showed the hat. Go back to the beginning. But so people have been social for a really long time. People have been social, and there's been a way of doing business socially that has naturally evolved over time. We are in the early stage of technology maturing to the point where you can do real social online, where you can be really human and you can really connect. And I agree with you guys. Like, we're at dawn of a new age of the world's oldest marketing technique, being social. And what's really important, I think, when we talk about culture, when we talk about silos, is to understand that social isn't just online. That if you have a divergent culture off and online, you're going to have a problem. Because if you're not socially motivated, you're going to do the wrong thing. And I want to talk about burgers. So in the United States, we like hamburgers because they always have a special sauce. And I did a video about the special sauce, right? And the special sauce on social is actually being social. And what people don't seem to understand, companies, and I've seen this through listening to Eric and Lenwood and Thomas and Tim and everyone else, is that when you bring the advertising, interrupt, push marketing, email mindset to trying to start a conversation, it falls apart. And like in social, it's really about being welcomed into the conversation. And it's so critical. Financial advisors are my dominant market. And I just want to ask yourself, what conversation are you being welcomed to? Like I see all of these people yapping in an echo chamber. And I can't remember if it was Eric that first talked about it or if it was Thomas, but the echo chamber that exists. I see a lot of, are you guys ready? Engagement occurring on LinkedIn for financial advisors. And when I click on the like react button, guess what percentage of people reacting to financial advisor comments are financial advisors?
All of them.
It used to be, but I checked one today, and there was actually a potential prospect on one post. And so my point is like
Brother-in-law, I guess.
It's crazy. But I just did the most successful post I've ever done, and it blew me away. And when you look at it, I've got a lot of views, a lot of comments, a lot of likes. But what I want people to maintain is you can click on my post about my son Saturday, and you can click the likes, and you can see just how many of my target market was interacting with me on that, because that's all I care about. Hundreds of financial services professionals and other professional service people are on there. Hundreds. And I've added 50 new connections. They welcomed me into a conversation with my target market. And that's really what all you guys are talking about, is like, people need to understand that it's not about creating a conversation through being rude or interrupting, because that doesn't work in a chamber of commerce.
It's not a conversation, is it? It's
right. It's a confrontation. And so what I want people to understand is like everything we've talked about is so important. You have to have your leadership team and all these things, but at the very basics, something that's been true for thousands and thousands of years is you have to be welcomed into a conversation. And the easiest way to be welcomed into a conversation is to join one. And so here's today's tip. Follow.
You need to put a hat on for the tip.
Mike's tip.
Mike's tip.
Now listen here. What you got to do, Sonny? Like, just like get on LinkedIn and follow. If you're afraid to connect, fine. But go follow all your target market. That is my one secret. For the last 60 days, every single day, I have been following as many not idiot financial advisors as I can. And my news feed has gone from, before Tim and Eric and everybody helped me understand this, has gone from some crap-filled thing that I didn't want to look at. I don't have to look for conversations anymore. They're there. And what is the hardest thing in sales? The hardest thing in sales is to miraculously call a prospect when they want to buy your shit. The second hardest thing in sales is to call a prospect and have them want to talk to you. And like, you have to be strategic. If you want to be welcome to the conversation, set up your strategy, Eric, set up your strategy so that you see the freaking conversations.
Mike, check the heart rate. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths in.
I love your passion, Mike.
But Eric, you helped me get this passionate about it.
I mean, you dropped a great video yesterday on Mike Garrison's LinkedIn profile. Have a look tomorrow from yesterday. And the thing that I love about it was the fact that you were talking about that it's not just about creating conversations, but being asked in to have conversations. And this is why we're seeing at this moment this divergence between digital and analog companies. You know, you can get salespeople onto social, and you can start trying to nickel and dime your way on social. But what you're seeing as people basically do this strategically is this divergence of analog and digital companies. And what you can start seeing, it's very clear on LinkedIn who's doing it well and who isn't doing it well. Yeah. And the people are doing it well, I bet you they've got pipeline, and the people that aren't doing it well don't.
You know, one last thing, you know, Eric calls it a thunk. For me, the moment for me, I mean, it was physical, but it was like a freedom. I felt released because for so long I've been a word of mouth analog guy. I didn't use that word. I've been a word of mouth analog guy, and I looked at social and I had despair because I didn't see how what I knew worked offline could work online. And then these guys, they took the chains off, and that's why I'm so passionate, because I'm like, I'm getting to do what I love again, which is teach other people that being a human being can be valued.
Fantastic.
I just
well said, Sheriff.
Well said, Sheriff. I'm just mildly insulted. you know, Mike was offered to come onto another live. You know, other lives are available to talk about that beautiful post that he put together, because a bunch of us who might be involved with that other live thought it was a really good post, and he turned us down because of some like.
So what Eric is talking about is the fact that, Eric, if you haven't seen it, you need to tune in. It's 7:45, isn't it, on Thursdays?
7:45 GMT,
yeah, UK time. He runs something called the Breakfast Burrito, which, if you haven't seen it, and I'm not going to explain it because the best thing to do is actually get in and watch it. And he's asked Mike Garrison to go on there. The only problem is it's 3 o'clock in the morning for Mike. So
but it's, I'm so glad you chose to share it on this one. That's at least we got to share it, right? At least we got to talk about it.
Eric, would you license the Breakfast Burrito so we could have a East Coast version of the Breakfast Burrito? We'll talk about it offline, and just
we'll talk about it offline. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
maybe we could have a late, like an evening version in the UK that's actually morning.
What a great idea!
We can reheat it.
The big
burrito that you didn't finish.
The big live dinner quesadilla.
No, it's the leftover burrito show.
Oh, boy.
Hey, I just wanted to say,
anyway,
real quick, like, personal posts work, but it's got to be within a strategy, right? And that's the biggest thing, is like, you can't share personal stuff all the time because you're going to look like everyone else that just shares pictures of flowers, right?
Isn't it?
See you, man. But like,
was that a shot, Mike? Because I do share pictures of flowers. Were you?
But not every post. So we talk about the post, but I got over 35,000 views, over 1,100 likes, which you can see. People, I don't think people realize that on LinkedIn. If you click on the likes, you can see every single person. I don't want to scare anybody off, right? And then I got like 160 comments, but it blew me away. As I told Tim earlier, my biggest problem for the last couple of days is trying to be human and respond to people. It's a good problem.
Yeah.
It was my little philosophical for a moment. I just
please,
philosophical for a moment, and this is it. One of the most difficult things, psychological things that people can go through is a feeling that they're alone, particularly when they're struggling with something or it's a difficult situation. And one of the things that social media helps you do is to realize that you're not alone. There are people out there struggling with all kinds of things. And if you put yourself out there, very often you'll find those people will come out and say, hey, we support you. We're right here with you. And it can be a beautiful catalyst to developing a community.
Yeah, I wept on Sunday when I saw what was happening, because I shared the post commercially because I want people to find out who I am and understand me. But like, the amount of people that private messaged me and talked to me about being a special needs parent or having a family member or a friend, the amount of these people, because we just don't talk about some of that stuff,
But Mike, if you think about the typical sales situation, there's a joke, isn't there, about how do you tell if a salesperson is lying? Their lips move. Yeah. We don't like salespeople. And as soon as a salesperson looks at our, our LinkedIn profile. Oh, it's horrible. It's like you want to go and have a shower or something. What you're doing is that you're actually you're putting yourself out there, and people are actually walking towards you. And this is transformational. Just think, hi, Brandon. This is transformational in terms of sales. Prospects walking towards a salesperson, connecting with them, wanting to have a conversation with them. Really?
Yeah. One guy I've been stalking.
Is that some sort of witchcraft?
For 30 days, I've been working because there's a really huge influencer that I just knew I couldn't just direct connect. I couldn't do something fake. So I've been liking his content, following him, and interacting. And then and no real response, right? But just being polite, being social, right? And then that post happened this past weekend, and he loved it and he commented. And I sent him a personal message back, and we're connected. And now we're talking. It could be amazing because I'm somebody that could refer him a ton of business as well. But people don't want to be connected to somebody they don't know.
If you haven't seen it, go over to look at Mike Garrison's post. When did you post?
Saturday.
It's on its first on his featured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's had, last time I looked, it got 1,111 likes.
Yeah, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. But I think everybody's got a story like that. We're
all giving you a virtual hug, Mike. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm serious though. It's like I think every human being has that in them.
Oh, absolutely. Every person, and it's you might be sitting there thinking, well, I don't have any stories about me like that. Actually, you do. And have you seen some of the crap that's going up on LinkedIn these days? Have you seen it? It's one of the things that we have to get across this mental barrier with our coaching clients is this. But why would writing this blog? Why would what right have I got to put this up here? What right have I got to do this? This is your space. This is your space. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a hell of a lot of commercial interaction going on digital and social, and you're missing out on this simply by doing this and claiming your space and putting your little flag on the top of this mountain and saying, this is mine, this is me, I'm here now. It allows you to take advantage of all of this benefit, of all of this conversation and chat and influence and, dare I say it, referral and amplification and all of that you're currently, it's missing in your life. You have a right to take it, and you have a place. You have a place. Absolutely, you have a place.
And funnily enough, you might get a sale from
it. Interesting.
Yeah.
I've gotten 2 of them R words off of that post.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I had the owner, a very powerful chap. We were presenting this morning to a client early this morning in the UK, and the owner still a bit skeptical about all of this, and rightly so. Absolutely. If you've missed this, I still say today, you're allowed to be skeptical about this, because if you've missed it, you've missed it. That's fine. It's about picking up from here and getting up to speed with the program. That's fine. And just don't be in this position next year is the message. Don't be in that position next year. Use this year to get ahead of the game. So this owner and CEO of this company said to me, so how do we I get it. Okay, I think I get it. How do we prevent this from just becoming about vanity metrics and fun and games?
Yeah,
great question.
That's a brilliant question. Brilliant question. And my response was, we attach a monetary value to it. End of. Just a mic drop moment. We attach a monetary value to it. Every single piece of energy that goes into social is linked back to a strategy which has an intended financial result. How do you mean? Well, and he said, I'm just worried that all my sales guys are just going to be messing about on LinkedIn for 8 hours. Yeah, they're just going to be. So I don't want to walk into the sales bullpen and see the guys sitting on their phones posting content and just messing about on social. And the point was, would you be quite happy if you walked in and John and Joanne, your 2 top salespeople, and you asked where they were and their desks were empty, and you heard that they were in town, going around town, visiting lots of buildings to visit with prospects? Would you be happy with that? Yeah, because they're doing their job. Absolutely. So it might take them to get round town, or maybe to go to a new city. It might be that they could do 4 meetings in a day, 5 at a push, right? So being out there and being in front of prospects and delivering and connecting and growing relationships and all of that. What if they could do that at their desk, and we could basically trash our travel budget? What if they could do that at their desk times 10 in a day by going to be where their prospects are, conversing with their prospects, growing relationships across the globe from that desk? So is it then now a problem that they're spending all day on LinkedIn if they are carving out commercial goodness from that experience in 8 hours? And there was this kind of like, oh, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. So it now no longer becomes messing about on LinkedIn and on social. It actually becomes commercially important for the organization. So suddenly it becomes, why are all those guys messing about on LinkedIn? It suddenly becomes, why don't we have a strategy on how we get people on LinkedIn more?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I used to, for 5 years after meeting Tim, I just would have these spurts of activity where I really tried to make LinkedIn work, and I would post all the freaking time, right? And I would write these amazing articles about how awesome I was, and no one bought. Shocking, right? Shocking. But it's so important, Eric, because what you did for them was you showed them analog, what they know works, and you said, hey, what if we amplified analog? What if we were achieving the same thing? And I would say this, instead of cold calling out in the city, right, or even just having appointments, they can have 40 conversations that they discover on purpose and then get welcomed into. And then when you have those conversations, guess what happens? When you have like friendly conversations with your target market, inevitably some of those conversations are naturally, because we're salespeople, they're naturally going to turn into what? Phone calls, Zoom sessions. And they may end up having you book trips to go install equipment as opposed to visit.
Yeah. How many times do you remember back in the day? Because I think we were all in some sort of client facing. Do you remember back in the day where you'd make that, right? We're going to that big city. We're going, we're going to fly there. We're going to land there on the night before. We're going to go out for dinner. We've got taking a prospect out for dinner, and then bam, Tuesday we've got meeting number 1 at 9 o'clock. And then we're out of there and we're across town in a taxi, and we've got that other one for 11, and then we've got the big one at 2, the big one that's actually the reason for being there. You land the night before, you get a text, the big one's cancelled.
Right.
Yeah, the big one's cancelled. Oh, right, okay. We'll make a fist out of the other one.
Make some phone calls, and we'll
one of the great things that Mike that you were talking about right there that I don't think is fully appreciated, but I'll sort of amplify it right now, which is that this process inevitably takes some pressure off of salespeople, because there are so many conversations. You don't have to try to force anything, right? Yeah. You don't have to force it, because you're having so many conversations naturally that pipeline is filling pretty quickly and pretty easily, and salespeople are comfortable being relaxed and not anxious because they're scared they're not going to be able to meet the quota.
Well, I think Thomas and I had a call, and we both of us are, we were financial advisors. Thomas was, and I was. Oh, well, but the hardest thing was always to do is like, when does somebody want to talk about investing money? And it, unfortunately, Thomas, in my experience, it wasn't most of the day. Right? How do we find that person? How do we manage these conversations? And like you talk about pipeline, I know that a lot of us here on the call have done hardcore B2B enterprise level sales, right? And how do you maintain relevance and interest in these people when they're not actually doing a contract with you? How do you stagger and handle the volume of conversation? You can't do it analog. You just can't do it. Yep. But you can absolutely do it on social.
fantastic conversation. But I want to bring in Thomas.
I know what's going to happen here. This is the big flourish at the end. This is Thomas.
I want to bring in Thomas because we got 15 minutes. So
yeah.
So you got something to talk about.
I want to bring it all together because I've been listening, obviously.
And normally you come up with some lovely mic drop.
It's coming. It's coming.
Stop with the pressure, boys. I want to bring it back all together because we sort of went off. We started out in one place and we went off to another place. We started out social big picture, and then we sort of got to the CMO, and now we've been really focused on sales. And I want to bring it back full circle because social is not sales. Sales can use and leverage and take advantage of social, but social is everything. And social is all encompassing. And in fact, it hits every area of a company. And when a company becomes digital and when a company becomes social, then sales becomes easy. And so does marketing, and so does procurement, and so does HR, and so does accounting, and so on and so forth. Social is a big picture thing that bleeds through everything. And as Tim so rightly said at the outset of today's talk, if it's just in sales, it's not going to work. If it's just in any one area, it is not going to work. A digital transformation starts at the top and bleeds down. And social will hit every department and have an amazing, crazy impact. And, one of the things that I wanted to bring up today, and there's an article that Len stole my thunder on earlier about, but that's okay because I don't hold grudges.
That was a setup.
For too long. For too long.
You
gotta know when somebody is throwing the ball up so you can slam. Okay, that's the slam, man.
All I would say, we're good, Len, but I appreciate that. But anyway, the article is from Harvard Business Review, and the point isn't Harvard Business Review. The point is that there's many articles like this now, and we've all talked about it, whether it's McKinsey or Mercer or Deloitte or Gartner or Forrester and so on and so on and so on and so on. And the fact is that at the corporate level, at the high levels, right, where the gods live and play, social and digital is now understood to be the thing. Right. So all of us have been working this for some time, some of us longer than others. And that was not true. We did not have Deloitte and Gartner and Forrester writing the kinds of things 5 years ago that they are writing right now. And that article from Harvard Business Review breaks out and speaks to what a company needs to do to take advantage of digital and the online world. As it relates to marketing and sales and customer experience and all those things, which we talk about every single day, every minute of every day, sometimes to the point where people might want to say, hey, is there something else we can talk about? But nonetheless, right, it's very true that this has now become the norm, right? And I think we do ourselves a bit of a disservice sometimes. And I say this with all due respect to everybody except for Lenwood, that this is not just about sales. Sales is simply one small component. And when the organization becomes digital, becomes social, and starts to do all those great things and reaches out and creates not just one individual becoming human, as Mike has done such a wonderful job in doing, but the company becomes human. This is a company of human beings. And we're all out there, we're promoting the business, not because they sign our paycheck necessarily, but because we believe in what they do and we're here because.
Such a great point.
And there's never been a day like today.
You made up now, have you?
Yes. Well, I've made up.
No, we'll follow up on that later. But there's never been a time and place, right, where employees and people have so much power as they do right now, right? I've got a client of mine who earlier this week announced to their people that starting on this date, you will show up at work 3 days a week. You get to choose what 3 days, but you will show up at work at 3 days and you need to commute accordingly. And they're in a large city, a very large city. And so they now have all been officially told that this is going to begin. He made the announcement on Monday. He retracted it on Wednesday because on Tuesday, half of his employees quit. Okay, and we're not talking about 2 people. We're talking about 25 people quit.
Wow.
Within 24 hours of his putting in, right? Now let me finish. The point being that they have that power.
Yeah.
Right? They can say,
we
hey,
have that power.
We have that power. And that organization is not in tune, is not caught up, and if he's watching, I'm here to help. But
our phone's ringing, Thomas.
all our phones are ringing.
Yeah. But in any case, he retracted that on the Wednesday and said, on second thoughts, what we're thinking is, whatever you want to do is good. And if you want to work from home full time, that's good too. So just let us know how you'd like to work, and we will find a way to make that work. Now, what's happened from then, I have no idea. But all I'm telling you is that when an organization becomes social, not only do they have the power in their market with their brand, but they have the power with their people, and their people want to work there. And I don't think anything more powerful than that.
Yeah, you made so many great points, Thomas. I mean, and it's amazing how many great points you made in that
rant.
But there is one thing that I would like to grab hold of. A lot of great points, and that's the impact of social. I don't think that it's fully appreciated by the C-suite, but I call it the third pillar of digital transformation. First being mobility, second being cloud, and now third is social. I mean, it's not. When cloud first started, it was kind of like this thing that was like off to this. It wasn't, people didn't think that it was going to become like the whole kit and caboodle, like everything was going to become cloud, right? But that's what I mean. And I mean, big organizations didn't see it. I remember when Dell and EMC Dell bought EMC, and they had this huge, it was on premises. I remember it's a big production. It's all on premise. Within a year, they had to change their entire strategy because of the cloud.
And it hurts.
So huge companies miss it. But this is the same size of seismic shift.
It is.
It's not just social in one organization. It is, one function. Social is your organization has to become social.
And the
inside has to go out. That has to happen.
That's the most beautiful thing that Thomas is highlighting. It's like we're seeing it, like what happened with Apple. You're seeing, and then Facebook's like, hey, we've got this. Everybody can work remotely. Like Deloitte and Touche in the UK, I saw a story. This huge stay-at accounting firm. Every single UK employee of Deloitte and Touche.
Because otherwise everyone is going to quit.
Yeah, it's like this.
It's simple.
Finally, the pillar of industry includes people. Finally,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big shift, and the value to the individuals out there. Okay, a lot of times we're talking to what companies need to do and all that, but let's just talk to people. Okay, maybe you're out of work or trying to figure out how to increase your value in the market. Get digitally savvy, get social, build your network, start writing content, because your value very soon is going to be related to the community that you can influence. And that the people out there who have a community that listens to them and responds to their recommendations, those people are going to have more value in the marketplace, and they're going to be able to command a much higher rate than
I
other folks.
would add to that, Linwood. And by the way, we're friends again. I just wanted to
Awesome.
bad going out there. But I would add to that while you do now have to become digitally savvy and be online and writing content, there are many that have to go online and do what I'll call a cleanup, right? So whether it's their old Instagram page or their old Facebook page or whatever it may be, you need to know, and this has been true for a while. This is not some big announcement that I'm making, that people are looking at your profile.
All of it.
For any given reason. It could be a bank loan. It could be a job. It could be you're meeting your mother-in-law. I mean, it could be anything. They are looking at your profile, and what you put there is what they see, and you need to think about that, because if they see you, at the bar with all the boys and girls doing whatever you do at the bar, that may not be the image that you want to put forward. So it's less about me saying what's good or bad, because that's irrelevant. It's more about what do you want to present. And Eric, you've said this so many times, and you put
digital identity pieces.
What do you want to be famous for?
What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be
Who are you? Who are you?
We have sports people all the time in the UK that, so and so you tweeted this when you were 15.
Oh yeah. I got one thing. So one of the greatest books about social ever written was by a guy named Harvey McKay. It was a while ago, and it was called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty, right? And it's about the fact that when you need a network, you can't build it. Like,
That's right.
You have to build the network before you need it. And I want to just say, I don't have 1,000 followers. I'm really close now in 1 week. But I got massive engagement with less followers than some other people I know. You can do this. Like, as you're building your network, it's going to help you wherever you are. Just the act of building it. And so online, like if you're a student right now, I was talking to somebody, a server at a Mexican restaurant. She's like, I want to get into cybersecurity, but I'm going to graduate in 2 years. I'm like, are you on LinkedIn? She's like, well, no, that's for professionals. I go, ooh, like, you need to be on LinkedIn right now so that you get the job of your dreams. Right now, the CEOs of these companies don't see you as a threat. You're a student. They want to know you. I was like, and I had her buy that book. I go, buy this book about life when it was really, really hard to do this, so that you understand just how amazing being a millennial right now is.
And then she got on the radio and went.
She was probably Gen Z, or
she went.
Not a millennial.
no more coffee. No more coffee to table 4.
I had the service dog with me. The service dog was with me, and that always helps, kind of make me more human. But I did make her open her phone and start working on her profile.
Yeah, a little plug for me. I did a thing yesterday. I'll actually add it to feature. It's just a quick slideshow that talks about your profile and what
you did a great slide
thingy,
whatever that is. Yeah,
you'll have Kevin Milne very nervous now, because he's the slideshow.
You're getting close to old Kevin.
Kevin taught me, and I told him. I said, Kevin, I love what you're doing with these slides. I want to know how to do it. He showed me. I gave him the big up. I big upped him. I said, hey, Kevin Milne taught me. He's big upped him. And I'm thankful.
So if you're watching, go over to Kevin Milne's LinkedIn profile. He's a Scottish guy with a beard. And
something unique.
His slideshow things. They're brilliant.
Oh, fantastic.
Is he a wee little fellow?
He's a wee little fella, yeah. He is. But he's powerful on social. And when he gets... And just keep in mind, when you're looking at all that beautiful work that's been done there and those slide decks that he does, which are just pinpoint beautiful, he does it in PowerPoint.
Yeah, I know.
PowerPoint.
I was like,
PowerPoint. I mean, it's and he quickly opened on a Zoom call to me and showed me what he does, and he said, "You just do this, you just do that," and I was like, "I'm done already. I'm done already." I'm done already. If I don't just start a new slideshow and put massive text, hello, good morning, that's it, I'm done. I'm done.
Any questions? Undaunted.
If Linwood can do it, then we're all good.
Oh, it's still there. It's still raw. It's still raw.
Whoa. Yeah. I'm gonna hire somebody. At least Eric is a marketing genius, you know.
So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Thank you to it's a bit like the Celebrity Squares.
Yeah.
Thank you to Eric. Thank you to Mike. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you to Lenwood. Thank you to Will, Brandon. We could do with Nick, who's gone. Sandy. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. And if you're watching this as a record, why don't you join us when it's live? Then we'd get all your comments, and you can come and shout at us, or heckle us, or something.
Fabulous.
Have
a great weekend.
Hey.
I saw that.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.